This video is brought to you by our patrons. If you want to make sure we can create more content like this, consider supporting us on our Patreon. Thank you. Hello and welcome to part 2 of chapter 10 of Capitalism, Socialism, and Democracy by Joseph A. Schumpeter. So now we will be covering theories 3, 4, and 5 of Vanishing Investment Opportunity. And to repeat again, these are the theories of how capitalism might fail that Schumpeter is debunking in this chapter. So, point number 3 is slowing technological progress. Of course, it is common for people to feel that all the progress that is possible has already occurred, due to lack of imagination or something. We are just now in the downgrade of a wave of enterprise that created the electrical power plant, the electrical industry, the electrified farm, and home and motor car. We find all that very marvelous, and we cannot for our lives see where opportunities of comparable importance are to come from. Oh, people of the 1940s, you idiots. So due to that inability to see into the future, we underestimate how much further we can go. But Schumpeter is quite confident there is much further that they could go from the 1940s. And possibly even further, I might add, where we can go from today in the 2020s. Moving on to theory number 4. Everyone already has everything, or everyone's already fitted out with new equipment. And so spreading these new technologies around is what created such a huge spike in demand in the past. But now that process is complete, everybody has everything, there is no more demand left to be created except to replace the things that people already have. For example, your washing machine breaks down and you just need to now replace it with a new one. So thus we are not primed for the sudden major spikes in economic activity that we once witnessed in the past. Now, this all hinges on the assumption that there cannot be new creations that override the usefulness of pre-existing equipment. If anything, purchases to simply replace old equipment with identical machines is certainly the exception rather than the rule. So the other angle to this is that new types of production will be decreasingly capital intensive, and therefore, even if we do have some innovative production in the future, it won't create the kind of spikes in economic activity that we once witnessed in the past. And Schumpeter says at his time of writing there is inadequate evidence to support this thought. Usually, he says, economists who are arguing this are cherry-picking examples to back up this theory. And additionally, even if we accept some of the assumptions here, labor-saving devices of the past have only proven to increase output rather than restricting it. Typically, most new processes do economize on things like labor and capital, so, what are you talking about? And finally, number 5. Future opportunities for investment will be more suited for public rather than private management, and Schumpeter says this is true to an extent. First of all, there are some kinds of expenditures that make a difference to public and economic life that simply don't enter the cost-benefit analysis of a private enterprise. Examples of this might be like the beautification of cities or public health. And second, an ever-widening sector of industrial activity seems to be entering the sphere of public management. And this is just because it works well under or is amenable to public management. And this includes things such as means of communication, docks, power production, insurance, and so on. But that's it. We can't really make this hypothesis stretch further than that. Because to take over capitalism, public management would have to take over all industries, not just those that are amenable to it. And at the moment, we don't have any evidence that that is happening. And so now that Schumpeter has debunked 5 vanishing investment opportunity hypotheses, I should say, not theories, we can move on to what Schumpeter sees as the true ending of capitalism. Because, just because he doesn't agree with these thoughts, he still believes capitalism has a natural end, which is coming. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not in 2020. Maybe not in 3000. But someday. And we will explore that thought in the next chapter, The Civilization of Capitalism, which is just the beginning of that whole thought for him. If you enjoyed this summary, please hit a like and subscribe, and maybe even consider becoming a patron to our Patreon. We really appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a wonderful start to their fall season. Bye-bye.